Welcome to the UK Scriptwriters Podcast. It's me, Danny Stack.
And me, Tim Clay.
And we're coming to you live from Red Planet Pictures HQ with the living legend himself, Tony Jordan.
Hi, boys.
All right, Tony. Good to see you again. We're obviously really excited to come and have a chat to you today. But let me tell you why you're a legend to me, which is maybe not the same reason for other people.
All right.
But you're one of the...
This is slightly worrying.
This is good. This is good. Well, or is it? You can disagree. But why you're an inspiration to me is you're one of the few UK, anyway, writer-producers.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I wanted to speak to you about, more so than your writing and your career and so on, is about how it's been taking control of your own destiny. Or has it been a burden? Is it a joy? Is it everything? What's it like, moving into owning Red Planet rather than just being a writer for hire?
Before you answer, let's give anybody who's unaware of Tony just a quick summary of
come
who
on,
he is.
everyone knows
just
Tony.
Anybody who doesn't realise who he is.
And I'm old now, I forget really easily.
All right, so let's remind Tony who he is.
Tony started off with EastEnders and was head writer for EastEnders for a good number of years. You probably wrote about 250 episodes in the end, I think,
no idea,
or more.
sorry.
And has since set up Red Planet Productions.
Pictures,
I
easy.
beg your pardon, yeah, Red Planet Pictures. As a
It's a
writer
gallery.
and producer, has been producing Death in Paradise, BBTV series, amongst other things, with the new Dickensian that's on BBC.
Yep, on right now.
And so, and also Red Planet Prize competition for new screenwriters, which has been going since 2007. And I think if we rewind the clock to 2007, when I first met you, I think it was, that's when you were setting up by yourself. And it was just you and maybe Gary, your assistant, and possibly Simon. And now we're sitting in a lovely office.
It's a proper place, everyone.
It's
huge. It's big. It's a big old gaff.
So what's
It's it's a bit of a monster now. It's look, my experience of writing was the same as every other writer in this country, which is you sit on your own mostly, apart from when you grab your man bag and go and do some pitch meetings to be disappointed. You eventually get something off, or you get a gig, and you write a script. You give it to someone, and then that's it. You never really see, nothing happens. It's then silence. I always thought it always felt like there was a big machine somewhere where you put a script in one end, and a DVD came out of the other. So it was literally that. I didn't know anything, and I wouldn't quite see it with other people on television. You do get a DVD before it goes out, but that was it. And a couple of times I'd say, well, could I come and see some filming? Yeah, of course you can. We love that. That's great. Please, we'd be really pleased if you came in. So I go, oh, right, okay, they need me. They can't do this without me. So I would go down to set and, I'd go to, they wouldn't tell me where it was properly. I'd be in the wrong place. When I got there, I'd have a third AD or someone saying, sorry, who are you? I'd say, I'm the writer. Oh, right, are you here for a meeting? No, I'm not here for a meeting. You're shooting my show. I just thought maybe I should come and have a look or something. And it's like, oh, fine, we'll just stand over there. Don't tread on those cables. It's kind of, it's all a bit. You don't really belong. A UK writer doesn't belong on a UK television set. So I went from that. So I was always kind of a bit frustrated by that, because sometimes you get the right producer, right director, and they make your stuff better. And I'd watch the DVD and go, wow, that's way better than I wrote. That's quite a rare thing.
Yeah.
And more often than not, you kind of just see bits. Oh no, you missed the point, or you didn't do that, or shit. And now I'm in a place where I'm there when my script is discussed. I'm there, and that never used to happen. They were having meetings about my script without me being there. So you'd have a producer, director, executive producer, all in a room, talking about what my script was, what it was supposed to do, what the character meant, they were having all that without me. And so now that doesn't happen. Now I'm in the room.
But was it a daunting thing though? Because as you started that story with as you listeners know, kind of thing. I was mooching around town and all this kind of stuff. So everyone will be in tune with what you're saying, but not everyone has the balls to actually do something about it and start their own. Their own company up to take more ownership. Was that a daunting thing for you, or was it almost you got to the point where, look, I've got to do it. I want to do
well,
this.
Well, not
to
really.
move.
I mean, you got to understand. I didn't start Red Planet Picture to fix that problem. I didn't do it to fix the problem that I wanted to be more involved. That's not the case.
Okay.
So I think it's a question of degrees, really. I think what I'd say is, as a writer, you don't need to start your own production company. In fact, it's impractical for every writer that wants to be in control of their stuff. You don't have to start a production company to be in control. You just be in control. It's your script. So you say, I want to be at that meeting. And if you've got the time, say, I want to be on set every day. And when I'm there, I need space to work. And just assert yourself a bit more. Not less of the,
good.
I'm really sorry, would it be all right if? Not would it fucking be all right with. I'll be there on Monday. And are you having when's casting? Can I go to the casting? Can I go and sit in? And I think we need to do that more as writers. I've just got back from LA where showrunners kind of run television out there, and they're the one thing that showrunners all have in common is they're also writers. That's the whole idea.
Yeah.
And so I think that we have to do it ourselves. No one's going to give us anything. No one's going to give writers that extra access or responsibility or inclusion. You have to take it.
I was going to say what I'm really fascinated by and inspired by actually is the fact, that you've set up this production company and you've got all these amazing shows on the go, and yet you're still writing away like a demon as well. And I'm just like, how does he manage? Yeah, you just said you were in LA this week, but you're writing marquee shows for the BBC, like amazing things like last year The Ark and the year before the Nativity. How amazing was that? And things like that. So it's like, how do you juggle it all is what I'm asking. You're like the Agatha Christie of the TV world. She was just non-stop.
Yeah. Look, I don't know. Do you know what? I wish I knew. I have no idea. I sat here this morning and just kind of just trying to work out what my year's looking like so far. And I realised that I've got 11 scripts due. I've got delivery date for 11 scripts. And it's like, that's impossible. I can't do that. There's no way. And I'm looking at delivery dates, and there's no way I can make that happen. There's no way I can do it. But you know what? That's an added bonus of having your own independent production company. In as much as people don't shout quite as loud as when you're when you're late with your scripts. It's tough, but in the final analysis, I'm a writer. That's what I do. And if I didn't have Red Planet, I'd be a writer. And if I didn't have a job, if no one wanted to pay me, I'd still be writing. That's just kind of in my blood. It's what I do. So it's
I think you've answered this question. I was going to ask Tony, if you had to give one half up, so if you had to just be a writer or just a producer for some magical reason, you'd choose to continue to write rather than just to produce and let other people write.
Yeah, of course, because that's what I am. I'm a writer. I'm a writer with his own production company, as opposed to a producer who writes.
Who writes a bit.
And we are, everybody. There's a proud boast in the independent production community. We're a writer-led company. It's like, no, you're not. I am. I am
literally.
I am a writer-led company.
Good point.
Because if you come in and see us as a writer, and you sit down with me, two brilliant things happen. One is that the meetings are great because I feel your pain. You know that I know what you're talking about, and you can't leave this building and say, bloody producers, what do they know? You can't say that with me because I do know, because when you leave here I will be doing what you do. I get it.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you can't bullshit me. You can't tell me that your dog ate the first draft.
You know the scams.
I know. You can't I was the man who discovered that just by reformatting in Final Draft, they had stretch and squeeze. You could turn a 42-page script into a 58-page script just by hitting the button. So I've been there and I've done that. So we genuinely are writer-led.
But am I right in thinking as well that you got into writing quite late?
Yeah, I was like 33, I think. Look, it stood me in good stead really, because I'd had a bit of a life before I started writing. And that always helped, And I love new writers. I love writers that are starting out. I love all kinds of writers. But I have writers come to see me, and they're like 19, and I think, man, we'll give you a shot. I want to help you in that. But fuck, what are you going to write about? I don't know. It's kind of, But then when so that's an easy response. But then I think, well, do you know what? I don't know what it's like to be a 19-year-old now.
Yeah,
I know what it's like to be a 19-year-old in the 70s, but I don't know about it now. So, there is something you can write about. So, yeah.
But when you were breaking in as well, there isn't the kind of writing culture or community that there is now. So I think you were probably coming from it from a more instinctive level in terms of, I've got something to say and I want to write. And yet you probably didn't even know what formatting a script was even then. Nobody did. What kind of years are we talking about? When you were
I think I got my first gig on EastEnders, which I think was January 1990.
Oh, wow.
So that was my first paid writing job. So that's, 25 years ago. So, there's always been a writers' community, but it's been slightly different. There's an argument saying we're more connected now because of social media and things like this.
Yeah.
So that, that happens. But the one thing that I found that's been constant throughout the years is that writers have just a sense of each other, and writers have a camaraderie, and we feel like we're all part of something in a way that I think no other part of the industry does. I don't think you never see producers hanging out together and and having a good moan or a good point and thinking about it. I don't really see directors doing that. I don't see editors doing that. You see actors doing it occasionally, maybe, but I think on this side of the camera, I think writers are the ones that are continually reaching out to each other and trying to either support each other or screw each other over, whatever. But we're all in there trying to do our thing, and we kind of do it. We all do it together, and there's something cool in that. I like being part of that fraternity, really.
What you embody pretty much more than most people that I know a sort of a love of television. So whereas a lot of other writers, especially these days, there's other things that you can write for with a similar narrative structure, like kind of obviously films, but comics as well, or games or whatever. But you've always had that passion for TV. Where's that come from, Tony? Why are you such an advocate of television?
I don't know, really. I guess I grew up watching telly as a kid. I also grew up watching films. I don't know. I love the nature of television is that maybe it's less now, but it used to be a shared experience. So I love, heyday of EastEnders. We were regularly getting kind of 25 million people watching a single episode overnight. And you say there used to be a thing like everybody's talking about EastEnders, and do you know what? They really were, because when 25 million people are watching your show, you get in a cab the next day, or on a bus, or sit in a cafe, or wherever you go, people are talking about what happened last night. I remember doing kind of Sharongate, when kind of Phil walks into the Queen Vic and
when it was recorded,
and puts the tape on the thing on the machine. I went out, and that went out, and I went out the next day, and it's like, wow, everybody was. And that's cool. That is pretty cool. I don't know if you get that in film unless you've written Star Wars. I mean, I don't know whether you never get that common kind of bond between people. So I've always loved television. I think for that reason, but also it's quick. I've got mates who are kind of movie writers, and the hit rate is really low. So you're just writing a lot of scripts, never seen anything made. And then when something gets greenlit and you're done, kind of, okay, let's start. And then 4 years later, you see your film. I couldn't wait that long. I love seeing my stuff. I love something about going from a piece of paper to it coming to life. And you get that radio and television, you get that immediately. So I love that.
But something like Dickensian must be a long slog. That must have been churning away for a long time. Or was it not? Or was it almost you had an idea and you did it?
The genius of it, it's a genius idea, isn't it, really? And Dickensian was almost the first EastEnder in terms of serialised stories, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, talk us through the brainchild of Dickensian then and developing it.
I don't know, really. I don't know what... It's kind of one of those things where I don't know. You have an idea. I don't know when I had the idea. I had an idea.
Well, no, you might know, Tony. You might have said, I had this idea 20 years ago and I've been carrying it around with me. It's on the toilet a couple of years ago.
Whatever. I was on my fourth Bacardi or something. And I was... And it was just mulling about, just thinking, and I did a bit of research because I was sure someone must have done it because it's a bit of a no-brainer, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I thought someone's done this, and I scoured the net, and I looked around, and I thought, nobody's done this. This is mental. And then I had, I was doing Hustle then, and I was at a dinner, the end of shoot for a series of Hustle, and I was sitting next to Polly Hill, who was a commissioner for BBC One. And she said, what you're doing now, what you're doing next, and what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. And I was talking through the scripts I was writing and stuff. And she said, what's coming up? I said, I've just had this weird idea thing, and it's a bit weird and a bit bonkers. So I'm going to try and do some work on that probably this winter. And she said, what is it? And I said, well, it's not for you. Obviously, it's not a BBC One show. She said, what do you mean it's not a BBC One show? I said, well, it's a bit big, and if I managed to do it, it'd be huge. So I don't think you'd have the money or the will or the for the scale of it. So that's probably a Sky show. I don't know, HBO. I don't know, whatever it is. And she got young. She said, "How dare you? How very dare you?" She said, "That's exactly the kind of show BBC One should be doing. We should be ambitious. We should do things at scale." So I said, "Okay, all right." So I pitched it, and she loved the idea. But I didn't have anything to show her then. It was all in my head. So she said, let me see it first. So I went away and sketched it together, and that probably means half a dozen pages. This is kind of roughly the idea. Gave it to her. She commissioned a script, wrote the first script, storyline of the first 20 episodes, and then it got greenlit. And that all happened quite quick in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of episodes. I mean, when I first heard about it, I thought it was going to be 6-parter, or something. That's enough, surely, But to really go for it like you did, did you spend a long time kind of story charting it out and bits of string like a kind of crazed serial killer on the wall? With
that's
lines
exactly that's exactly what I do.
Yeah.
I am the serial killer of returning drama.
Thought so.
So that's exactly how you do it, really. And look, I just think that you have to push, as a writer, you have to push things. Sometimes you're going to succeed, sometimes you're going to fail. But you have to do things differently. You can't just be derivative of what everybody else has done before you. You must just keep, and call it what you like. Call it thinking in the box, out the box, on top of the box, under the box. Give it whatever cliche you want to give it. You can be in the envelope, out there, whatever you want to be. But you must try and make your own space and try and come at things in a different way. And every time I've tried to do that, there's always been a show that I've been proud of. So it's, and whether that's just, and it doesn't matter how you start that process. Life on Mars started by me talking to a production company and them saying, "What do you want to do next?" And I said, "Well, I've no idea, but why don't you let me get a couple of other writers, a couple of mates, and let's go and sit in a room for 3 days and see what happens." And so because of that, and I asked Matthew Graham and Nashi Farrow to come to Blackpool with me, and that's what we did, and Life on Mars came out of that. We could have done Dickensian as a kind of as a 6-parter on a Sunday night, and we chose not to. We chose to do it 20.5 hours, and I stuck to my guns when people were saying, "Look, this is really difficult. Can't we do it a different way?" I said no, because I want to try and do something different. Hustle was like that. I was struggling with Hustle when I went through, because there was so much to do. There was so much exposition in there, and it's like, oh God, I don't want to do this. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to freeze frame and have the cast explain the plot. And that's what I did. And so you need, and Red Planet's exactly that. It's like, well, what are we going to do? Well, I'm going to start a production company. I'm going to be a writer-led production company, and I'm going to set it up like this. And we're a family here. We are. It's an amazing place. So you just need to just keep mixing it up, because the more you just keep doing the same old thing, you don't ever grow either as a person or more importantly as a writer. Did I say more importantly as a writer? Or as a writer, or more importantly a person, a human being? Take whichever
way,
whichever floats your boat.
This is an interactive
a good
podcast,
writer,
listeners.
or a good person.
You've got a great.
Can't be both.
Can't be both. You have to be one or the other. So make your choice. Throw the dice.
Oh dear.
You've got a great track record though on what you're talking about, because going back to say something like Moving Wallpaper and Echo Beach, Was it Echo Beach?
Yeah, Moving Wallpaper, it's the same. And again, and I had to wait. Moving Wallpaper was a sitcom set behind the scenes of a soap. All right, we've all seen that. We've all seen episodes. We've all obviously this was before episodes. We've seen 30 Rock. Moving Wallpaper was before 30 Rock. So we've seen that, right? What made it my show was the fact that I said, okay, well, let's do that. Let's go behind the scenes of a soap opera called Echo Beach. Okay, now let's make Echo Beach. And so we made the soap as well. So it's kind of Martin McCutcheon and Jason Donovan and Johnny Briggs, and it was kind of it was a soap. So you could watch 30 minutes of behind the scenes of a soap, but then you got to watch soap as well. And the people had tried to talk me out.
It was ahead of its time.
I can't. Yeah. Well, it was ahead of its time, behind its time.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, no one had done it before, and no one's done it since. But at least, it's like I was here. It's like I was here. I came and I did this thing. This is my thing. And it was different, and I'll settle for different.
It was transmedia, wasn't it? Before transmedia really became trendy.
Right.
And if I'd been doing it now, it would have been a much bigger kind of. There would have been a huge social media element. There would have been this. There would have been interactive in all those ways. So maybe that's the reason for doing it again. I don't know.
But also, probably worth pointing out is that you had that idea for a while. Because I remember reading the script for it in the 90s when I was at Channel 4. And similarly with Life on Mars, which I know you've said previously in other interviews and stuff, that it took about 7-8 years to get off the ground.
Life on Mars was 7 years of... I think everybody had forgotten about it, but I just kept bringing it out at every possible opportunity. Trying to sell it. John York, who's obviously a good mate, kind of moved to the right jobs at the right time, so that really helped. But it was 7 years. Moving Wallpaper was like 11 years. And I could have done it. And the real secret is, and kind of the proof's in the pudding, I could have made that show 8 years earlier, 6 years earlier, 4 years earlier, if I'd have only done what people wanted me to do, which is either do one or the other, or merge them together to make one 45-minute or 60-minute show, or do it differently. Do it in a way we've done things before so we know they work.
Yeah.
And that's why some of my stuff doesn't work. Some of my stuff doesn't, and I accept that. But that's one of that's what happens when you're trying to be innovative. If you're trying to do things differently, sometimes it doesn't work. And so you just have to, you kind of got to go with that.
How do you find? Do you enjoy the editing process and the producing part of the job as well? Because it's great to have those ideas, get the script out, and so on, but almost like the last draft of the script is the edit, is the old cliche term. Yeah. Do you enjoy getting involved in that part of it? Do you kind of just almost, you've got such a good team, you let them get on with that pretty much? Or do you kind of get in there, get your hands dirty a little bit in that process?
A bit of everything. I mean, the one thing I learned really early days of Red Planet is that if you surround, this isn't a cliche, this is true, and if anyone's in the same position, do this before you do anything else. If you surround yourself with really good people that you love and trust, and I mean love and trust, and hopefully that's reciprocated, they're good people, they will always make you look better than you are, always. And if you create the right atmosphere for them to work, and you work in a sense of, we don't micromanage at Red Planet, we hire good people and let them do their thing. So that's not what this whole process is about for me. It's not about me stamping my authority on every stage of the process. That's not what it's about. It's about me controlling the people that I bring together, and then me sitting back in awe watching them do their thing. Do I have an opinion in the edit suite? Of course I do. Do I have an opinion in it when other writers' scripts come in? Do I give notes? Of course I do, because we're making the same show. So we've all got an opinion. And I'm not stupid. My opinion matters quite a lot because I'm CEO of Red Planet Pictures. I've written a script and I'm executive producer. Yeah. So my voice matters, but so does everyone else's. And that's the key, And I know other showrunners that... and these are the showrunners, by the way, that I criticise and I get stick for. I see them sometimes and they say, you're always fucking having a go. And it's like... And they're the showrunners who say, OK, let's get in some other writers and let them all write a first draft, right? And then fuck them off out of it. And I'll come in I'll put on my floppy velvet hat and my cape. And I'll come and sprinkle my stardust on it, genius that I am, right? So those showrunners, I've always said, go fuck yourself. because you're not, that's not running a show. That's just feeding your own ego. I've rewritten other people's scripts, right? And I will do that again tomorrow. If that needs to be done for the sake of the show, if the writer's lost the will to live, if the writer's lazy or doesn't want to do the work anymore, if the writer's saying, look, this is brilliant, I don't get it, you're stupid. It's like, I will work, if you're willing to work and get the script right, I will sit with you 24 hours a day, I'll take you away for the weekend. We'll go line by line. If you want to do the work, I will help you get through that process. If you give up on me, I'll rewrite the script if I need to do it. And because I have that ethos, I don't do it very often. So I maybe rewrite, if you think of all the output of Red Planet Pictures, I've maybe rewritten 2 scripts this year, and the 2 scripts that I've rewritten, the writers have walked. Because they feel that they've come to the end of the process.
Right, yeah.
And that's fine. Then I'm as
if they've got no more to give.
If you've got no more to give and you don't know what to do, and in those cases, one of them actually did more. They just said, look, I don't know what to do. And I said, well, look, here's a chance. If you want me, because I think I know what needs to be done, and we've been through this process and don't seem to get it. Why don't I do a pass, right? And then you come back to it and you take over the script again and move on from that point. And that's what they've done, and that works really well. And sometimes if they're a new writer, you don't know. It kind of really helps. That's different to the default position is, I think I had that on Family Fairs at one point. There was a thing about that where you were hired as writers come in and write a first draft, and then they fix it in-house. It's like, wow, you don't do that to writers. That's a bad thing. So I think there is a difference. I forgot what the question was. I went off on a rant.
Well, I'll bring it back. I'll bring it back to your own writing, Tony. I mean, having seen so much from start to finish in terms of production, have you felt an influence over the years in terms of back to your own writing when you sit down and you're staring at the blank sheet of paper? You know, if you write something in a certain way, or not even as a cheat, but just like this is going to be better for production. Has any tips or like that kind of?
Yeah, no, it's tough, but don't do that. It's tough. I have to stop myself doing that because, yes, of course, it's human nature to think. I'm because I'm aware of. I get scripts. I get the process is I get an idea, I write a script, I sell it, it's greenlit. I've now got to make it. But first of all, I've got to raise the money for it. So it's like because I'm the producer, so I have to go out. I don't get all the money from the broadcast. I have to go out and pitch it, and I'm in LA this week pitching shows that I need more money for. So I'm raising the money. So of course, when I'm sitting down to write episode 2, and I suddenly have this image as a writer of 20,000 people marching over a hill with 12 helicopters behind them, I can't help thinking, God, shit. Look, maybe if I made that 5,000 people and 2 helicopters, you can't help doing that. Yeah. And what I've learned is now I have to stop myself doing that, and I've learned to go too far the other way. So the minute I have that thought, I double it. That's how I get away. That's how I deal with it.
Okay.
So the minute I have that thought,
as soon as you get scared, you flip the other way.
I flip it and I double it. So
wow!
So now I do 20,000 people and 24 helicopters.
Yeah.
And I leave that in the script because then I'm sure I'm not self-editing.
Yeah.
And then when the script comes in, then I'm having conversations with directors and
you're like, who's written this?
Yeah, some newbie.
This bonkers bloke has written this. Yeah. 20,000 people. What is he like?
They must feel like they're earning their work then. It's just like, Tony, we've noticed in your script.
Yeah, look, and then I do what everybody does in this business, which is you then negotiate.
With yourself.
With myself. But look, you mustn't do that. You mustn't think about, and you certainly shouldn't think that that's a toolbox that a writer should have. No, you should just write. Write from, have some creative integrity and don't get involved in all that nonsense of budgeting things as you go along. That's someone else's job.
Where do you write? You don't write here, do you, in the office?
No, that was the plan. I got. I said, okay, look, I'll do. As Red Planet got bigger and bigger and bigger, we moved from, we started off in Bedford, then we went to Compton Street, and now we're in this ridiculous place in Warwick Street, and I said, look, okay, I can't be there. I've got to write. I don't know what I'm going to write. So I'll come to the office kind of 4 days a week, but I may have to write because I don't have that, and only leaves me 1 day writing a week, which isn't going to be enough. No chance. I think the most I've written in this building is 3 words, and that's it.
Out to lunch.
Yeah,
I think it was. Yeah. So no, I can't. So I've got. So I have two plans now. One is if I'm kind of all right and it's not too, and I'm kind of, and I'm in a good place and it's not, I'm not too late. Then I've got a shed in my back garden, so I'll be in there writing. That's where I write. If I'm really up against it and I'm really late with the scripts, I've got a place in Spain, so I go there, lock myself in, walk around in my underpants, grow a beard.
No internet,
no nothing until the script's finished. No one phones me. Just stay out my face. This is serious, hardcore writing stuff.
Great. Well, what's difficult for you, do you find, in terms of when you're writing a script? You plan out beforehand and then you crack on with the script. But then when you're in the middle of it, or you're struggling, or something's not working, what do you do? Where do you go to? What kind of toolbox, mental toolbox, or otherwise do you kind of use?
Well, it's tough because of the way that I write. I don't block anything out. I don't plan anything.
Right.
So I don't do postcards. I don't do anything. I did it a bit on EastEnders, but I don't really do anything now. So
you've never you must have done a step outline in TV. No, never.
Wow! Look at his face, Danny. He doesn't even know what you're talking about.
No, script editors will make you do your scene by scene.
My script editors, they do step outlines. They're doing beat sheets.
Yeah,
they're doing scene by scenes, whatever you want to call them. They're doing those, and I'm saying, okay.
So, Tony, just to reiterate. You've got a script, it needs doing. You've pitched it.
Yeah.
You've written a little outline of the show.
Probably not.
But maybe to show a commissioner or something.
No, probably not.
Okay, fine. So you haven't even got that. So you just sit down. Right.
Discovery writing, is it?
Yeah, you just interior, office, I'm off. See you later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
Oh, you're bonkers, man.
No.
For TV especially, that is rare, isn't it? That's a unique gift. It's a unique talent, I would say.
Well... Yeah, you need talent anyway to write for television, because you need to get the gig, and you're not going to get a gig unless the script's good. To get the script, you've got to be talented. So, I mean, I always know I only need to know two things. I need to know what my first scene is, and I need to know what my last scene is. Actually, not even scene, image. I need to know what the first image is. I need to know what the last image is, and that's basically I have my A to B.
Yeah.
Right, and so I will write that first sequence, so I know where I am. And so I'm at the end of scene one. Just as importantly, I know where I'm going, and I know how long it's going to take me to get there. It's going to take me another 56 pages to get to that scene. So I will then instinctively, surely, you would know what scene two would be. Surely, that's either a continuation of your A story, or it's the introduction of your B story. I don't know, whichever you.
But choose. You haven't gone to bed and woken up the next day and gone, I knew what I was doing in scene two, but I forgot.
No, but see, that's where sometimes this falls apart. So that's how I write, and then by the time I finish scene two, instinctively, I know what scene three will be. Is it a return to go back to A story, or is it a continuation of B story, or am I introducing the C story, or what am I doing? What did I think? And then gradually I get a sense of, and all the time I know where I'm going, and so every scene that I write is informed by where I'm going, because if I do it that way, then that last image or that last scene has maximum impact, because everything is written with that scene in mind.
Yeah.
So therefore, you get that kind of buzz, and then you get to a point where you kind of you almost become the audience, because you're now on scene 14, and you're kind of there, and you go, oh shit, I wonder what's happening to him.
Yeah.
And you have that thought at exactly the same moment as the audience. So if you get it right, as the audience is thinking, but where did she go? You go to her, because that's instinctively.
So is this quite a quick process then, where don't take this the wrong way, but you're kind of banging it out. So you're kind of getting through it real quick.
It out.
Banging it out, Tony. You're just like...
He types with two fingers.
You're just like going like a crazy person, writing like mad. Let's just get through it, and then I'm going to go over it and over it and over it and fine-tune it and put more stuff in or whatever. Not that, ladies and gentlemen. He's laughing at me.
No banging out.
No banging it out.
No banging it out. My dream is the same as every other writer's. I want the first draft to be perfect.
Right.
I don't ever want to go back to that script again.
Okay.
So so not that.
Not that.
I try and I write the best script that I can do. The thing I think that makes it slightly different is because I write that way, and because I haven't got anything blocked out in that way. So let's say day one I write 10 pages. So I write from page 1 to page 10. On day 2 of my writing, I don't start on page 11. I start on page 1 again.
Okay.
And I rewrite those first 10 pages.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Now that can be dialogue. That can be I could do that bit better. Or it may be something that I've thought about that evening. Oh, that didn't really work. I should do it that way. So I rewrite once 10. And so if I start like 9 o'clock in the morning, I do that up to lunchtime, and then first thing after lunch I start on page 11.
Okay.
And I probably write now, because I've got less time, I now write page 11 to page 17. And then the next day 3, I start on page 1 again. And I rewrite the first 10 pages.
Okay.
As though I was given it as a rewrite to do.
Yeah.
And then I rewrite, obviously, the first 17 pages now. And now I'm starting it kind of 2 o'clock.
With a fresh approach.
With fresh approach sometimes. And I start on page 18 and I'll get to page 22.
Yeah.
And then day 4, I rewrite pages 1 to 22.
Two steps forward.
Now what that gives you is that when I deliver a script, and my first drafts
are pretty good.
They're not far away from where we need to be.
Yeah.
Because, and that's people telling me that. That's not me saying I'm brilliant. I'm just saying people go like, "Wow, your first draft's cool.
Yeah.
Your third draft's a shit, but but your first draft's good." And what they don't realise is it's not my first draft.
No, of course.
You're getting drafts 10, 15. I've really done this.
Yeah.
So my system really works.
That's great.
Now I can do that so I can do it without blocking it out because I do that process.
Right, I'm with you.
And to me, that's a much more thorough process than blocking everything out on spending 2 weeks putting things on postcards and putting it up on a corkboard and doing all that and fiddling about, and then writing that as it is and then delivering a script. That is really a first draft. That's kind of notes.
Yeah.
Whereas mine is kind of I'm getting ready to. I'm getting ready to.
Sounds amazing.
So that's a really cool way, and I've always worked like that. And you know what? It works. The problem with it is and that's what I'm finding now as running Red Planet Pictures, is that once you interrupt that thought process or interrupt that process, you're screwed.
Yeah.
So so I'll have that this week, right? So I'm here today in Red Planet office, and I'm here tomorrow, Red Planet office, and I've got 3 writing days: Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to be in my shed writing. So I'll do that process. So I'm going back to a script that I'm on. It's a 90-minute script. I'm on page 84.
Right.
So Wednesday, I'm going to start rewriting.
Yeah.
And I'll probably get to page 50.
Yeah.
Because I'm rewriting. Day 2, I get from 50 to 85. Right. Might even get it up to 90. Day 3, I'm getting up to 90. I've got far to go now, but then I don't finish it by the end of Friday.
Yeah.
I haven't got another writing day for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that process of coming back to rewrite in 2 weeks' time is going to take me twice as long.
You've got to start again almost.
Virtually like that.
Yeah.
So my system works as long as you get the time to do it, and it falls apart a little bit if the gaps are too big. But look, that's a particular problem to where I am in my career at the moment. But if you're just a writer, you should be writing it like that. That's what you should do. So every draft you deliver is everyone else's first draft, but you know in your heart that's your 10th draft.
I'm loving it.
And it's got better and better and better.
Sounds great.
And everybody, you look like a better writer than you are.
Yeah.
Because you spend more time on it.
Yeah. What about directing, Tony?
What about it?
How do you feel about that?
I think we should definitely direct things. I think
How
there should be
do you
directors.
feel about it? How do you feel about it yourself?
I don't want to direct. I'm a writer.
No.
Why is it? I'm not. I'm always suspicious of directors who want to write. It's like, what's all that about? What's all that? I don't know. It's not my thing. I work with a lot of directors, and you go on set and try and have a conversation with them, and they're bombarded.
Yeah.
It's like being pecked to death by a flock of pigeons. It's like, whoa. I'd like to do it if it was just the good stuff. Yeah, but I've seen them go through prep and stuff. It's like, I never really. I might do it once just to see if it's as bad as I think it is. But I think someone asked me this the other day. Actually, it was like, why haven't you ever directed? Like it was a natural progression from being a writer. It's like Is it really? When did that start?
Well, I don't think it is,
No, it's not.
but you're right also in your anecdote, which is the fact that a lot of people have that writer-director as a kind of a hyphen that is like. But I feel that's really two so different elements of a personality. You know, writing's so different to directing. To me, a writer-producer is actually, and a writer-editor is a better fit if you can have a hyphen in your title than a writer-director. And yet the industry expects writer-directors, especially more in film than in TV, to be fair. But you've still got like Polyakov or whatever, you know, that's kind of that does a bit of both. So I'm pleased that you say that. If you see what I mean, it doesn't make sense to you.
No, my thing is that, you know, when someone else, like say, someone asked me the other day, you know, why, as it was a natural thing, why, you know, why don't you direct? And I said to them, I said, well, I already have. It's like, really? I haven't seen anything. So no, every script I write, I've already directed it, because what you don't have is that I've already got a finished piece in my head, because that's what I write. You know, I don't know. Again, you never really know other people's process, but I'm more like a reporter than I don't actually think of what people should say. That's a ridiculous way to make a living. But if I've created two characters, and I've created those characters properly, and they're three-dimensional, and they work, and the narrative or the dynamic or whatever it is I've given them is a viable one, then I take those two characters and that dynamic or that narrative, what it is, and I put them in my head, and I sit in front of a blank sheet of paper, and I wait, and I can't do anything until they start talking. I know that sounds daft, but to me it makes me more of a reporter, because I think I physically hear voices in my head, and I write down what I hear. I think that's what writers do. I think when we're flying, you know those waves you get now and again when you kind of suddenly wake up and you've written 22 pages. Yeah, that's because you're hearing things, and you actually can't write quick enough. Yeah, that's because you can hear it and you can't keep up with the voices. That's it. And when we can't write, and when and we kind of struggling, it's because we can't hear anything, and so we're thinking, well, maybe they'd say this, don't know, or maybe they'd do that, I don't know, because there's nothing there. So I've already directed things.
And how does that work with something that's not an adaptation, but when you're working on Dickensian, you've got a cast of characters that are already written? Did you just read all of Dickens and then go, right, I've got all those characters in my mind, now let me put them in a new situation and report using your
that's exactly report I read what they every Dickens book, I read every short story. No, I don't think I've read a bit. Yeah. No more, you know. I think my main reference was Muppets Christmas Carol.
Guys, the card was full because Tony's talking too long, so we've had to quickly pause it and unpause it.
You've cut me.
Sorry. I've edited you to make you better.
Oh, thank you. Yes. That's really kind of you.
So we were just talking about working on Dickens and Muppets Christmas Carol.
Yes, which is my favourite Dickens adaptation.
That's right.
The process is the same with that, which is. It's not tough, you know. Look, so I think it's a really good idea. I say so myself. It's just a strong idea. You know, it's strong ideas. Take all those amazing characters and put them in the same place. Yeah. So the execution to me was kind of, it wasn't easy, but it was kind of joyful and stressless. Basically, I've got Fagin and Scrooge in a pub having a chat. I don't know any writer worth his salt that wouldn't want to write that, because you know the beauty of that is even Charles Dickens didn't write that.
No, but you see that a lot of people would almost be intimidated by that because they'd get drawn into the minutiae of that, which was like, right, how exactly does Scrooge talk? Like Marley, we don't know how he talks. That's fair game. Yeah. But Scrooge, we see how his type of sentence construction is. So people could get totally drawn into this kind of nitpicking thing and almost get paralysed by the fear of the weightiness of those characters and how well known they are. But you kind of powered through that, it seems.
But I think that writers do that too much. You know, it's kind of. I think they overthink.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Yeah,
I just kind of think. Now, what we were talking about earlier about about production and should writers be, be more knowing about production, and should they write with that in mind, and should do this. God, dear, we've got enough on our plates without having to worry about all that stuff. And as for how Scrooge and people, they're going to speak how I want them to speak. Why? Because I'm the writer, and if I thought the best idea was to do this in foreign language and make Scrooge German, if there was a real creative reason for that, then that's how we would talk. So you have to kind of take control of things. I'm not, I'm not daunted. I don't get daunted. I don't get fearful. I don't worry about stuff like that. Because
I'm getting the impression, Tony, you're always like that, though, rather than like, I'm Tony Jordan now and I can do what I like.
Oh no, God, yeah, I've never been different. Look, I was expelled from school when I was 14, right? Because I was a bullshit little bastard. I didn't do anything one bad thing. It's just that I was stropping when I said why a lot, and when they said do this, and I'd say why, and they said because I'm your teacher, or they'd say because I said so. That makes no sense to me. So yeah, I was doing that when I was 14. And so yeah, I don't. It's not about. There's no what writers in particular. I think because I think that they need to get their heads around is that there's nobody better. There is no thing. We are not. We are not unworthy. We shouldn't be terribly grateful because someone gives us it's like what. The one thing that I've learned since I started Red Planet, the whole production thing, the whole thing, it's all a bit Emperor's New Clothes. All right. It's like I felt a bit like, even now I feel like the bloke behind the curtain, the Wizard of Oz. It's like, I don't take notice of the bloke behind the curtain. It's only me. It's like, don't eat nothing. Don't worry about that. It's all a bit like that, all right? There are no six. The trick is that it all begins with the word, all right? Scripts, writers are the first part of the creative process that we do. That's where it all begins, and that's where the DNA of the narrative, the heart, the soul of everything is all there in that script. And then if you're lucky, you get really clever people in their own field that will come and enhance that and make it better. And so you get a director who will and it will grow, and it will just elevate it somehow. And then you get great editors and great composers, and then we come together as a creative community. But we come together as a creative community as equals, not as they're the bosses and we're somehow the fucking serfs. Writers are serfs, and so go away, do the script. Right? No, thank you. Now piss off. Right? And now the grown-ups will take care of it. That's not true. That's a scam that they've all created to elevate themselves. Yeah. The bad producers have created that thing. You can't do it without me. A good producer is key, darling. If however good the script is, without the right kind of producer. Who's saying that? I got a feeling that's a producer. But I work with a lot of producers here, and I work with good producers, and they say what I say. And I've worked with some bad ones. I've worked with bad script editors, right, who blame the writers. I work with bad producers who blame everyone else. I work with bad directors who blame the writers. It's no, it's not. It's not like that. We are not lower in the scheme of things than anybody else, and sometimes we feel like that because we get so much rejection. But that's just part of what we do. That's part of when you put yourself out there. Sometimes you have to deal with that. But if it helps. I've got a whole drawer of my filing cabinet in my shed in my office that's full of rejection letters. I've got rejection letters for Life on Mars from every single BBC network. I've got rejection letters for Moving Wallpaper. I've got rejection letters for every show that I've ever done. That's just the way it is. Not everything is everybody's cup of tea. Not everything, and everybody assumes that I create a show or I have an idea and I go to nip round to the BBC, which is like half a mile up that way, and it gets green lit. It's not. I get, on a yearly basis, I must have 6 shows turned down. So it's just you don't hear about those. You only hear about the ones that get made.
Of course.
Well, we've been negotiating that a little bit ourselves. We've been stepping into the writing, producing, writing, directing mold, and we were having a talk about TV projects and developing our own TV projects as producers. And then we've kind of discounted it for the year almost because we're thinking, well, if we're Tony Jordan, we have to be doing this all the time and really pursuing it, because it's not like about having one idea that might hit. It's probably about having a half a dozen.
At least.
So it's like, do you find any pressure with that, or do you just think it's an ongoing part?
Well, it's not really. I mean, you know, you guys are you're in a great place, because for you, you know, I'm guessing. I mean, I don't know exact circumstances, but I'm guessing that it can just be one project. Why don't you just get a project? Why don't you just do that?
Yeah,
just do it, and if it's success, then do another one, and then it may be that you're doing 2 next time, or you're doing 3 next time, but there's no reason. You don't have to. You know, it's kind of. You can open up a market stall. You don't have to suddenly be M&S. You know, don't think, well, God, no, we can do this properly. Yeah. We have to buy 2,000 premises.
That's, I mean, just without it going down into more about us, which everyone will be sick of hearing about on this thing. But that's in a way what we did, Tony, because we made a low budget film, because that was something we could do. We didn't need to get that commission by TV. We could just go make it and then sell it. And so we had a good time doing that. We learned a lot. Just fun to do, you know, enjoyable in a creative way and in a business way. And so our aim now is to just carry on and do more of the same. Try and make each one a little bit better, a little bit bigger, a little bit bolder. And if you know, inspired by yourself in a way, which is just to kind of not be pushed around, but be the masters of our own destiny. I mean, if we think we're a couple of okay writers, let's put our money where our mouth is. You know, we're not shy of that. So that's what we've tried to do.
But that's the thing, and it's not about, it's about being, you must do what you expect everybody else to do. That's the key. What you as writers expect everybody else to be like now. You expect them to be collaborative, to be inclusive, to be all those things. You must now be those things. Yeah. You cannot be, we writers, we think the script's brilliant, and this is what we're going to do. I don't care what anyone said. You know, you have to do. You can't change. It's a bit like why Red Planet still does a writing competition. It's why we still read unsolicited material when we can. It's all those reasons we do all that. Is that you can't kind of climb the ladder and get through the trapdoor and then shut it after you. You have to change things. You have to do things. But the pressure only comes. No, I had no pressure when I started Red Planet. You know, Danny, you were saying I talked to you probably right at the very beginning of Red Planet. And I had no pressure then at all. I had nothing. I had plans to make a show. Now I've got pressure because I've got 20 people working for me. I've got this place. We're running we've got 5 shows, either we're shooting or in pre-production. That's a lot of people. So now there's pressure, but there wasn't at the time, and you shouldn't feel any of that now. It should be good. And most of what I do,
we don't. We're enjoying it while we can. If you see what I mean.
There's a certain naivety that we embrace.
Yeah,
but that's a good thing. You should do most of what I do here at Red Planet on a daily basis, on the days that I'm in, is try to just get everybody to just relax, no pressure on them. Just do your thing. Just do your thing. It's cool. Just go, be creative, little fairies. Do your thing. Let's make something great. Let's make good TV. Let's do it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about figures. Don't worry about money. That's all. I'll worry about that. You just go do your thing. And that's that thing about surrounding yourself with good people again.
Yeah, good.
And the other thing about good people, and you find this as you kind of step up. I run Red Planet Pictures on multiple choice. That's how I work. That's how I run the whole.
What do you mean? What do you mean, Danny?
I'm surrounded by brilliant people. So I've got Belinda Campbell's a brilliant head of drama. I've got Alex Jones, brilliant head of business. Alex Prothero, brilliant head of production. Julie Gissin, brilliant head of finance. And they just come and there's a problem of the day, and it's like, okay, so what are the choices? Well, you could do this, A, B, or C. Okay, what would you do? Well, I'd probably do A. I go, okay, well, that's fine. Let's do that then. Bye. That's how I run my planet.
I think he could be a good director.
Yeah. that's how it works if you've got good people. You can't do it. You've got shit people, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right, good. Let's wrap it up then.
Let's end with a very quick big up to the Red Planet Prize.
Yes,
which we were hoping to do this well in time for the deadline, which is this Friday as we speak. But we probably will try and get it up before.
Try and get it up for then.
But it's now in its 9th year.
I know, it's amazing.
But what I love is that it's you've proven that, the genuine commitment to new writing and new writers, to help them kind of get their foot in the door and then to keep on going, really.
Yeah, well, look, the Red Planet Prize isn't the only thing we do. We actively seek out new writers. Our development team are always looking for new writers that are coming through. We do. It's tough, it's tough because there aren't enough places doing it, it's kind of really, you know. So I'd love to be doing shadow schemes, and I'd love to do Red Planet Academy for writers. I'd love to do that, but you can't do these things all on your own because it's very time consuming. We had an open door policy on scripts up until about 6 months ago, and the problem is you just end up pissing people off.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only one with an open door policy.
Yeah.
I'm the only one, you know, I was the only one that if you don't need an agent, you don't need anything, just send the script, we'll read it. But then I've got, you know, I've got like 12 readers, I've got 6 developed script editors, I've got all these people reading the scripts, but I'm getting 3,500 in, and I can't get through them. And so I've got somebody giving me a script in January, and I'm not getting to it till the next January. And in the summer, they're saying, well, you're shit. And I'm going, well, I'm sorry, mate, I'm doing my best. So it's tough, you know, but we, as a company, we are completely committed and will always be so while I'm here to being a natural creative home for writers, be they new or otherwise.
Good.
So, yeah, that's it then. Thank you so much for your time, Tony.
Pleasure.
And, we're the UK script writers.
Yeah, so just
you know us.
Yeah, you know us, you know Tony. But if you're listening to this randomly, then find us on ukscriptwriters.podomatic.com. Find us on iTunes, search for it there. Find us on Twitter. Find us on Facebook. All your normal places. And we'll be back with more script writing insights in the future. See you later.
See ya, mate.